Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
And this is the leader of the Fargo PD openly calling members of the community thugs in 2020.
Two groups behind recent marches in Fargo are accusing Fargo's police chief of using racist language. The groups, Black Lives Matter and One Fargo, have scheduled marches for this weekend in Fargo. City officials are pushing back, saying they're refusing to come to the table. Valley News Team's Joshua Pagaro has an exclusive interview with the organizers and asked them what they want.
The local leaders of Black Lives Matter and One Fargo are calling for a thorough investigation into the incidents of May 30th.
Next for us is getting an accurate accounting of May 30th. Once we're able to get that, we're going to be able to build off of that, because at that time, the truth will be exposed.
They want to know whether there was illegal surveillance by Fargo police. They target former Deputy Chief Todd Osmondson, who stepped down 2 weeks ago after blending in with protesters without permission. More than a dozen people have been arrested after the peaceful march turned violent in downtown Fargo. One man was arrested for carrying a gun. The group is calling for them to be freed.
Showing proof that you have these gentlemen rioting or looting these businesses, because as of today, there's no proof that has been shown.
The group showed off an internal police email from Chief David Todd in which they say he describes the protesters as thugs and domestic terrorists. Mayor Tim Mahoney says he's disappointed with the group. He says they need to work within the system, and they're giving the city a cold shoulder by protesting and refusing to sit at the table. But the group says those meetings were not genuine and questions were not being answered.
When you talk about the oppressed people and you not dealing with oppression, it's not up to Mayor Mahoney to tell us how we should go about operating and seeking change.
Organizers say they have received threats for their actions.
You're always going to get kind of threats, or when you're, speaking out, especially for rights.
But they plan to move forward with the marches Friday and Saturday. In Fargo, Joshua Pagaro, Valley News Live.
We reached out to the city for comment. We haven't heard back yet. Friday's march will start at Island Park at 9 in the morning. They plan to march to City Hall, where they hope to meet with the mayor. Mahoney told us today he'll be there. On to the weather, where one word doesn't cover it today. Once again, windy tops the list, but today, steamy as well. You can add that to the list, huh? Let's find out if the heat and gusts will be easing tonight. Hutch is here with your weather planner.
No, it looks windy and hot all evening long. Those gusts have hit 50+ miles per hour in the James River Valley. Look at Carrington, 55-mile-per-hour gusts, 45 to 46 miles per hour here in the FM area. It remains gusty, and look at this steaminess, Mike. Everyone in the 90s with the exception of that Lake of the Woods area, but you are in the mid and upper 80s out there. Records for this date, by the way, triple digits here in Fargo and Grand Forks. Late night storms tonight, generally after about 3 a.m. moving in from the central Dakotas. Tomorrow, a risk of severe weather focused right over our area. We'll have much more on the details of that, but for tonight, be ready for the steamy and windy weather to continue through your Friday evening. Even overnight, it looks windy. Now, coming up, I'll have hour-by-hour details on those storms in the morning and then again in the afternoon, and what risks we're watching for as we head into our Wednesday night here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. A Sunday night fire totaled an Enderlin, North Dakota home, and with it burned up the belongings of one woman's 2 late children. Investigators blame the fire on electrical issues. Sean Jackson says this is the second time she's lived in this home, and it will always hold a special place in her heart.
Right after my son, I lost my daughter to suicide. And this was the last place I seen both of them alive, was in this house.
Jackson added that thankfully she was able to save both her children's urns. A GoFundMe page has been set up for Jackson, and to find it, you can go to the VNL News app and click on this story. A Belcourt, North Dakota man will be spending the rest of his life in prison. 51-year-old Myron J. Azure has been sentenced on 2 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of children. Between October of 2014 and January of 2017, Azure abused one of the 2 child victims on the Turtle Mountain Indian Reservation. During that investigation, it was determined that he sexually abused a second child in 2019. Both children were under the age of 12 at the time. A man has died in a grain bin accident in Walsh County. It happened yesterday afternoon about 5 miles south of Adams. The victim was in his 50s. His name is being withheld until family are notified. North Dakota is reporting another 23 positive COVID-19 cases today, 9 of those in Cass County. The number of active cases stands at 330. That's down 14 from yesterday. No new deaths were reported for the 5th straight day, keeping the death toll linked to the virus in the state at 74. On the whole, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum says that the state is really in good shape, great shape, in fact, when it comes to COVID-19. However, he cautions residents to stay focused because we're still facing some of the same challenges in dealing with the pandemic.
Again, the point of all of this is that while we're in really good shape and things are going great in North Dakota, we need to make sure that we continue to stay on guard as we continue to move forward and open up our economy.
Burgum adds that testing continues to be important, and later on in this newscast, we'll have details on several mass testing events planned for Fargo in the coming weeks. The state of Minnesota is reporting 9 new COVID-19 related deaths today. The death toll in the state is now at 1,313. Overall, another 197 positive tests are being reported. There are now 2,563 active cases in the state. Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's father has some technical difficulties there. Meanwhile, state Republicans say that the start of the special session, one of their priorities is putting an end to the emergency powers that the governor has during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks officially announced that they have made a change in leadership. And Valley News Live sports director Beth Houle is here with why there will be a new manager this year. Beth?
Yeah, Mike, the Redhawks saying it came down to a difference in baseball philosophy and decisions. So they've named World Series champion and former Redhawk Chris Coast as the interim manager. I asked Coast today what that difference was and how aware he was of the unrest in the organization. He told me he had been aware of it for some time and explained, well, winning is always the first priority. There's also an understanding that the Redhawks are a product and a production, making sure win or lose, the fans leave satisfied.
I was an original Red Hawk. I saw this place packed pretty much every night for 4 straight years when I played here. It is a business. We are a show. We do want some of that. We want fans in the seats when they leave, win or lose. We want them to want to come back. So there'll be a huge emphasis from the on-field side for that as well.
The Redhawks also announcing the schedule today and are completing the 6-team draft right now. Those dates and names will all be available on the VNL News app. Mike?
Thanks, Beth. The regular season is set to start July 3rd at 7:02 at Newman Outdoor Field. Erskine Fire Department wants to alert you of a black bear spotted roaming around the town of Erskine. The fire department says you should take down your bird feeders, keep your garbage in the garage, and bring your grills inside a building as well. People should also keep an eye on their children or pets if they're outside. And if you have any concerns, you're asked to contact the Minnesota DNR. Later on Valley News Live at 6, what the president has ordered be done to address police reform across the country.
Sizzling hot weather today in the valley and windy as well. 97s in both Grand Forks and Fargo. And tomorrow we have a risk of severe weather. A first alert weather day. I'll have hour by hour details on what will happen next.